Yo, Black, it's time. What's going on? We're here today because today is a very special day. It is Julius Randle Appreciation Day. So I hope you guys are ready. There's been a lot of chatter. People haven't been satisfied with Randle. And it's a fact he's underperformed this year. But let's appreciate what he is because we need that man. I think it's been evident over the past two games what he brings to the table. Um, we're talking about a guy that the defense has to collapse on. They have to make him the vocal point of their focus, and it makes the game that much easier for the rest of the guys on the team. Shout out to Wayne Peterson. Let's see, Julius Randle and Kemba Walker are gonna take us to the top 16. I hope so. I hope so. I hope so. Um, but I tell you what, without him, we're lottery bound. And if nothing else has been evident, it's that. Um, our young guys they have a lot to learn. It's nice to see what they've been able to do in the short stretches when called upon to fill in. But now that their roles are increased, and we got starters, they're playing starter minutes. They're playing against starters on the other team. It's going to be a little bit different. It's going to take some adjustment. Um, that's a fact. So we need this guy Randall. We need him in tip top shape. Um, we talked about with Sim that he could be banged up, and maybe he needs a break or a day off or two to recover. Well, hopefully during this time his body's resting, his body's recovering. Blackwood Gritty, yo Black is time. Salute, appreciate you. Thanks for joining. Um, yeah, hopefully his body's resting. He's recovering. He comes back refreshed and is ready to be where he was last year. I don't think last year was a fluke. I do think he can repeat it. I think it's still a learning process, learning how to adjust to the adjustments. So yeah, I'm looking forward to him coming back. In the meantime, you know, this is an opportunity for our young guys to get heavy minutes, starter minutes. I like what I saw from Obi last game, 19 6 and 6. Can he do that consistently? Can he do that in less minutes? I love the assist numbers. Can he duplicate that? Can he bring those rebounds up? Can we get somewhere in double digits? I'm looking forward to that. Who else we got out there? Quickly, I think he needs to step up. Um, Prime opportunity for him. Play heavy point guard minutes, two guard minutes. I won't call him quite a disappointment because again he's young. Um, Somebody I expected to pick it up during these last two games was Alec Burks, and I expected him to lead the team. He's kind of been that switch army knife for us all year. Plug and play anything we needed him to do, but right now I think we need him to be more than just a closer, but a guy that could get a shot off in all four quarters. If guys are making shots, we win OKC the Raptors game. I agree. I agree. But they're not, and they're wide open shots. So I don't know what to say about that. Like these guys, yeah, they're not hitting open shots. The defense hasn't been great. Let me bring Sim in real quick. Sim, what's good?
What's good, man? What's popping?
Appreciate you joining me on Julius Randle Appreciation Day. You
I
know,
guess everybody probably figured I would be here for that.
yeah, you gotta earn them checks. So
Exactly. Gotta earn it. Gotta earn them. Gotta earn them.
basically, I just been letting the people know that we need to appreciate them. I think we're a lottery team without him. I think the difference has been evident in his absence. Um, he takes a lot of pressure off of all the other guys, and they kind of been letting me down. I mean, he's underperformed this year as well. It's a down year for the whole team, but it's an opportunity for guys to step up and prove something while he's out.
Right.
And like we had talked about, he may be banged up. You said he needed a couple of days off, or I mean, he has the days off now. Um, Granted, bad circumstances, but hopefully he can recover if he was banged up. If there was some kind of nagging injury, maybe this is a time where his resting his body
Yeah.
will benefit him and he comes back healthy.
You know what? What I think people got to understand about Julius Randle it's not saying that Julius Randle is this, superstar, super duper star player, but the way that the New York Knicks are currently constructed, they're just better with Julius Randle on the floor because they've built everything so far with Leon Rose and Tom Thibodeau. They've built it around Julius Randle in the way that he plays basketball. Right? They want 3-point shooters and defenders that can knock down shots. Right? So what are they saying? They're saying we want the ball to go to Julius Randle so that he can attract the defense and then he can kick it out to shooters, right? And guys that can swing the ball around the perimeter. Is that the right way to play? That's up to that's up to Leon Rose and it's up to the specific person. Some people is going to say, no, that's not the right way to play. We couldn't be building that type of team around Julius Randle. And they may be right. You know what I'm saying? But right now, this is who we have. This is who's on the team. So, you got to play to your strengths. And right now, that's the strength of this basketball team. When people are saying, the Knicks will be better without them and this and that and the third. It's just not true. And I think people are seeing it now, not in just the fact that we lost the games because we could have lost the games anyway because the Knicks just not playing well. But I think people are probably seeing the way that the offense is run and, the way that the Knicks really do kind of struggle when the shots are not falling, struggle to get other shots, alternative shots, you know? So it's not
Yeah,
really just about Julius Randle itself. It's about the way that the Knicks play basketball and, uh, you know, the way that they built this team as it relates to Julius Randle.
yeah, I agree. Queen, Josh, thank you guys for joining. Full house tonight.
Oh yeah.
Haven't seen it this full in a while. It's Julius Randle Appreciation Day. If you didn't know. Um,
Queen, you want to
and
go
yeah,
first?
I mean,
What's the question though? I
I
know it's
mean,
Julius Randle Appreciation Day, but what's the question?
it's not even a question. This tonight, I really wanted to talk to the chat. The
Okay.
the
So you
guys
want us to
that
get off?
no. I'm
No, I'm
saying,
joking.
I mean, I'm gonna have some questions down the line, but I
Mhm.
mean, being Julius Randle Appreciation Day, it was really me voicing my opinion about how the fans are overreacting. He's having a down year for sure, but without him, this team is a lottery team. You know what I
Right,
mean? This team takes a couple of steps back without him. So
right.
I'd really just wanted to speak to that, and then I obviously get into some fresh topics. But yeah, if you want to to add to that comment? I know Josh has something to say as well, but
Yeah, you guys can hear me pretty good.
yeah.
Good Queen.
I mean, listen, Julius Randle is our best player. Now, I think Rose has been playing the best this year, but Julius Randle is our best player. And I think the Knicks goals as Julius Randle goals. So if Julius Randle doesn't get it together, if he doesn't play better, if he doesn't elevate his game, how successful can the Knicks be this season without him? I think a lot of the criticism that he's getting from the fans is true. Um, it's just there's a lot of venom behind it, which I don't quite understand. But he's not playing well. He's not as efficient as he was last year. He's turning the ball over at about the same rate. It just looks worse, you know. Um, and I think, listen, the way he played last year, then the way he played in the playoffs, I think, myself and a lot of fans was expecting him to come back with a vengeance and come back and play pretty well. And that hasn't happened. And I think a lot of fans are disappointed in that, as I am. But I knew when Randle went out, protocol. I mean, listen, we weren't playing well as it was, but I knew when he went out, it was going to get worse because think about it. Even if he's not playing well and he's not efficient, he still draws the double team. He still gets people open shots. Whether they hit him or not, that's another story. But you're getting better shots. It's just a different ball game when he's not there. And I think that's what we're seeing.
Before I get to you, Josh, you made a great point that I actually wanted to interject and ask you guys. But I'll start with Josh and then you can answer the question and we'll go around. But do you think if the rest of the team was a little more efficient as a whole, do you think the blame or do you think we'd be more successful? One, and do you think Julius, with the identical numbers that he's putting up this year, would he still be looked upon as regressed?
Tony, I'm glad you brought that up. First of all, salute. Good evening to everyone, because I was just about to go there. I think a lot of the stuff that Julius Randle's doing on the floor, he was doing last season. It's just that he's not shooting as efficient. And I think Sim pointed this out a couple shows back, that if you're not shooting efficient and you still have those high turnover numbers and combine that with the fact that the team is not winning as many games as you thought they were winning, you're going to get all the blame and it's going to look much worse. And I think that right there, I think Knicks fans are stuck in the now as far as Julius Randle's concerned. And obviously, we're not winning games. So that all compounds the issue. But for me, the bigger thing for me about Julius Randle is everyone acts like, with Julius Randle, he's the end all be all. I think the front office understands that they gave him a team-friendly contract and he can be moved at any point next year or even the year after that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not stuck with Julius Randle. We're not stuck with his contract. I think his contract is favorable for any team that has him. And I think that the front office realizes that they can be able to move it at some point. Like, everything is not right now. And I think Knicks fans are forgetting about that because we don't have the same amount of success we had last season. They're forgetting the fact that the Knicks are still in a rebuild. Like, this team is not a contender yet. We're still building something. We're still letting our kids grow. So that's just my whole thought about Julius Randle. And of course, obviously, we all agree that this team is not a better team right now without Julius Randle. There's just no doubt about that.
But I think if Julius was struggling this same way and Kemba was playing well and Fournier was playing well and RJ took that step and Mitch was playing better, the Knicks would be better. The Knicks would be a better team. We would just be talking about, wow, if Randle could just get it together, we'll take it to even another level. But what's happening is Randle is struggling, and State said this on the podcast with him and Errol. The entire team has regressed. It seems like, right?
Yeah. And then Randle being the best player on the team is like, well, it's Randle's fault because everyone else is regressing. Randle's supposed to be the leader, so we got to blame him. And I just think that's not the right way to look at it. I think the entire team is struggling, but for Julius Randle specifically, he's struggling. But I think if he starts knocking his shots down, I think that a lot of people wouldn't be talking about Julius Randle as much because you can live with the turnovers as long as you knock shots down. Rob the Nick made an excellent comparison. He said he compared him to Russell Westbrook. And to me, I think that kind of makes sense because if you look at Westbrook is a turnover machine. no doubt about it. But, there's times so Westbrook can turn it over and he can sometimes be efficient, score 40, and you can live with that. That's how his teams will win games. But anytime there's Westbrook as a turnover machine, combine that with the fact you're inefficient from the field, just ain't going to work.
Loss.
Yeah.
And a loss.
And I think the question people are asking the wrong questions. Everyone is like, it's Julius Randle, it's Julius Randle. And instead of asking, why is everybody, including Julius Randle, playing worse than they were last year?
Right.
What is the reason that everybody, the entire team, if you look at the entire starting lineup,
right,
they're all playing worse than they were last year? Right. Even though Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier were on different teams, they're playing worse than they were last year. What is the reason for that?
right.
Is it because other teams, the Knicks are no longer a surprise and other teams are queuing in and we haven't figured out how to beat those teams because they're planning for us much better than they were last season? Is that the reason? Is it because they haven't been able to gel and bond the way that we thought that they would? So is that part of the reason? Who knows? Who knows what it is?
Do you think it's a fair argument to the fans who say the problem is not necessarily Randle? Because there's two guys that get the most blame. It's Tibbs and Randle. So do you think they're saying it's not necessarily Randle, but the way he's being used, or better yet, the way everyone else is being used?
I think when it comes to Randle, I don't think the fans are even being that nuanced about it. Like Randle just sucks. He's not playing well. They're not thinking about the system. They're not thinking about the fact that we incorporated 2 new players, and so his role in the offense is different. No, he's just not playing well, period.
Right. And with him not playing well, he's still the best that we have on the team. You know what I mean? I mean, just looking at the offense the way it is right now, when you look at the offense, there's so many things that we do when Randle was here that we're just not doing right now. The whole 2-man game with Evan Fournier and Julius Randle. We've been seeing some of the screen and roll with Kemba Walker and Julius Randle. You're not seeing that at all. Obviously, you have the ability to just give the Randle the ball in the post, and if nobody double teams, see if we can get a bucket. Right now, it's just kind of pass the ball around the perimeter and hope we find somebody slashing to the basket from time to time. Now, I did see last night when Fred VanVleet was on R.J. Barrett, he went into the post a little bit. Right? If we can continue to do that with R.J., then when Randle gets back, even do that a little bit more with R.J. to, that'll help maybe relieve, if R.J. can score from that area, help relieve some of that pressure off of Julius Randle. You know what I mean? But right now, you can look at the offense and say, wow, like, what are we doing out there? We're just passing the ball around the perimeter.
Yeah.
And I heard so many times, because Wally Zerbiak said it on MSG, and you heard Evan Fournier say it in the press conference that the ball goes side to side, right? The ball goes side to side with the second unit. And that's all good and dandy, right? You can go side to side if you want to. This starting 5 can go side to side, but I've never seen a basketball rim on the sideline. I only see it on the baseline. You know what I mean? And the only way to get to it is to go towards the basket. Right. So you can pass it around the perimeter if you want. We're going to be stuck taking perimeter shots all night long. That's what we're seeing right now.
And to your point, Sim, this is not gymnastics. You don't get any points for looking good. If you synchronize and it's passing, it's looking pretty, you got to score the basketball.
Right. Exactly. You get no extra points for that.
That is definitely true. Yeah. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. Is there anything that you've seen from these young guys in the extended minutes that they've gotten that is encouraging, that you think maybe can translate or maybe something clicking?
Can I go first?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
No. I think that and that's not a diss to the young kids. I think that these young kids, for the roles that they were playing, those limited minutes, they were doing tremendous in it. But when you put them out there and you give them these veteran 30, 40 minutes a game, you see that it doesn't translate the same way. So I think they'll eventually get better over time. But as of right now, you can't expect to put these kids on the floor every single night, 30, 40 minutes a game, and expect them to be successful. Expect the team to be successful. I think they were developing perfectly fine in their limited roles. Those little spot minutes that they get, Quentin Grimes and McBride, what have you, their little roles off the bench to help this team succeed. But in extended minutes, absolutely not.
Well, see, I agree with Josh that some of these guys aren't ready to go extended minutes, but I also think there's going to be things that you can pull out from this stint. You may get from it that they're not ready to go 30 minutes, but there's still small things within the game that you can say, but we can utilize this, right? I've seen Obi over the last 2 games at least go into the post 4 times and execute good moves. Right. And that's something that you can say, hey, if we can get him to do that 3 or 4 times a game, that can be very effective for us. Right. And he did it because he had to. Right. Because he's one of the primary scorers out there right now. So that's something that I think you can take away from it. RJ Barrett, we haven't seen him in the post a lot this year at all. He was successful yesterday in Toronto when he had Fred VanVleet. I think he scored maybe 5 or 6 points in a row in the post area. You know what I mean? And he actually called for the ball, to get the ball in the post. I think that's something that you can take away and say, we can use this when we get our normal lineup back. We can use this little piece for us. You know what I mean? Now let's try to take Julius Randle and put him in the corner on the opposite side of the floor and see if we can get RJ a couple of posts up per game. And it doesn't have to be something that you do all the time.
Right.
But maybe you start to, put those little pieces into your offense.
Right. Or implement it in looking for the switch, forcing them to switch, and then going to it.
Right.
So creating the mismatch. So I mean,
and there's something that's kind of unseen that maybe will benefit us out of this little period. All of our assistant coaches are down.
Yeah, no one's talking about that.
and Tom Thibodeau's utilizing some of the film guys, the guys who break down the film, and elevating them to assistant coaches. And maybe they find somebody in there that's able to help out this team sometime in the future, because now they got a little bit of coaching experience and sitting on the bench and helping out Tom Thibodeau. That's something that's little, very small, but like I always say, you look at the game different than when you're a coach, than when you're watching on TV, than when you're a player. And so when you have one of these guys come out of the booth from doing the video editing, and now they're looking at the game one way, when they go back and edit the video, they can see it through a different lens and think about it through a different lens. And, some of the clips that they might take out, so, that's something that's very little, but could maybe help the team sometime in the future.
Eric Spoelstra was a video coordinator for the Miami Heat since the 90s.
Yep.
And that's how he got that job.
Exactly. So, that's something that could help the team out. Hopefully it helps our team. It doesn't help some other team, but could help us out.
Yeah.
You see this comment from Galvin from Duval County. Do you think the success Randle had last year, after the success he had last year, he became outside oriented and needs to get back in the post more? I agree with that comment. I think so. I would definitely like to see Randle more in the paint. The question is, is it because our bigs are there? Maybe he has to operate outside the post and the paint a little bit. But what do you guys think of that?
I mean, Randle.
And I'm sorry, Queen, you didn't answer the prior one, so you could.
I think that because Josh and Sim covered it, especially Sim, he covered everybody. So I don't really have much to add other than I think the Knicks drafted well. I think that they're gonna find their way. I think they're developing. I really like Grimes. I really like Grimes, and we'll just have to see where it goes. One thing about Obi, I love his body control when he's in the open floor. He has really good body control, and also his playmaking. There's some untapped playmaking in Obi's game as well. He made a few nice passes over the past few games. But as far as Randall in the post, I mean that's fine too. I would like to see Randall be more efficient in his mid-range game. Like when he gets the pass right in the mid-range, just pull up and take the shot instead of trying to dribble in and get a better shot. I think he was much more efficient in the mid-range game last year, and this year it's just not great. So I'm okay with him being in the post as well, but I would like to see his mid-range game become more efficient as well.
Yeah. Speaking of that mid range, I seen Grimes do a couple of those pull up mid range pull up. He wasn't hitting them, but the fact that he was taking them, so
Right.
super encouraging. And they look good. They just bounced the road out. But
Right.
yeah, I like Grimes as well. I think even though he hasn't been hitting at that great clip as he did earlier, um, I like the balance in his game. He
Mhm.
seems steady headed. Like he doesn't seem phased by additional pressure, additional minutes, and things of that nature. So
Yeah.
like mature rookie. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think I have higher hopes for him than I think he's gonna come along a lot faster than the other young guys.
And do
Um
you think him and IQ is redundant, or do you think that IQ is just something different?
no, I don't think they're redundant at all because one, I think IQ can play the point guard. Like he's showing that he's working on it, he's improving at it. So I think they're a good tandem.
Mhm.
I don't think they're redundant. And with IQ's improved defense, I think they could be a nice backcourt in the future, whether it's off the bench or eventually starting down the line. Um, yeah, I definitely I think they could work together. Deuce, I think he has a little bit more to work on um moving forward. I think he's gonna be like Josh said, and I led the show with. I think when they had limited minutes, limited roles, like I think that was perfect for them. And
Right.
I think you know the starting minutes, granted, it's necessity, but I don't think they're ready for it. I think we could get more production from them in limited roles than a full starters production.
And you
Right.
notice, after these extended minutes that they had in the past two games, and we obviously lost bad. Now all of a sudden it's like it went from play the kids to like, oh, our kids are so bad.
Right.
Our kid, we don't
Right.
got nobody. The Knicks are doomed. And I'm like,
Right. Right.
a
Right.
minute ago you were saying play the
Mm-hmm.
kids. So I just think
Mm-hmm.
the Knicks fans overall just have to relax, calm down. I get it. The team is not doing as well as we did last season, but let these kids be who they are. They're kids. Let them play in those small roles that they had and let them excel there. And gradually, as time goes on, you move them up and you start giving them some extra minutes. And there's going to be times like this where guys get hurt. The health and safety protocols happen. They're going to get that time. That time, they're going to get that. Tips is not going to keep these guys on the bench forever. At some point, he has to play them, right? And that's what's happening right now. And you see the reason why he's not playing them consistently with those high level of minutes.
Yeah. I actually think that McBride one day could be a starter in this league. Obviously, it depends on his development. There's just a few things that I see out there that I like from him. One, obviously, his defense. He's not afraid to play defense. He will play defense. He can knock down the three and he can knock down the mid range. We haven't seen it over the last two games, and I think that's what people really wanted to see. It hasn't happened. Your role changes when you start to play with better players.
SGA,
Bottom line,
Fred Van Vliet.
right? Once you play with better players, your role changes. What you have to do changes. And of course, who you're going up against, it takes a different level of energy to go up against
Right.
those guys,
Right.
right? So that may limit what you do on one side of the floor. Uh, but I also think he understands how to control the basketball game, right? You may not see a whole lot of right now, but I've seen little glimpses and pieces of
Mhm.
him being able to um, direct traffic on the floor, and understand what the purpose of the specific set or play is, which I think is going to come in handy for him once he, just gets a little bit, grows up in the league a little bit, So I do think, and I think he has some speed that we haven't seen yet. I think he can explode off the dribble every once in a while. We haven't seen it
Mhm.
yet, probably because he's not sure if he can do it. Like if Tibbs
Right.
wants him to
It's
do it,
allowed.
if
Right.
it's allowed right now for him,
Right.
so I don't think he's done all of the things that he can do
Hmm.
uh yet. Once he is, because he seems also like the kind of kid that I'm gonna follow instructions. Like this is what the coach said for me to do, and that's what I'm gonna do.
Right.
So yeah, he needs a little while to develop and gain that confidence and things. But I think one day he could be a starter in this league.
I mean,
Yeah.
I, I agree in the sense that he reminds me of light Malcolm Brogdon, like, but he needs to be aggressive or offensively for him to reach his ceiling. So I don't know if he lacks aggression, or like you said, maybe he doesn't know if he's allowed to do
Yeah,
certain things. You know, so I could definitely see down the line him, you know, being a starter. But it's
Yeah.
the opposite of what Quickly had. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like Quickly was like, all right, I'm doing my move. I'm pulling this shot. You know what I mean? I'm not waiting to know if I'm allowed to. If I'm not allowed to, he'll tell me. You know what I
right,
mean?
right,
Right.
right.
And I also think Tibbs is invested in McBride. I mean, for him to get on him, pull him, we don't know what happened in practice those 2 days before in terms of this is how I want you to play, play these next two games because he pulled them out and that was it until what the third or fourth quarter. So he was definitely upset about something. But I think Tibbs is invested in him. And like I said before, Tibbs sent him to the G League, and I took that to mean that he must really not be ready for Tibbs to send him to the G League. But maybe Tibbs looked at the roster, saw the point guard position wasn't
Hmm.
going well, and felt like, let me get him some work because we're going to need him sooner or later. It's hard to say.
Right. People always mistake Tibbs yelling at players for accountability. You want to hold them accountable, but you don't want to hold anybody else accountable. I just think that's Tibbs really coaching. He enjoys the process of
Yeah.
molding these players into what he wants them to be. And I think him, not having outbursts, but going back and forth with them, I think that's a part of that process, and people need to understand that.
Yeah,
Right.
I think Miles McBride is going to come back and play more aggressive in the next game. He
Hope so.
knows that's the reason why he was pulled. He knows that he was pulled because Alec Burks provided more offensive opportunities. So I think McBride is going to come in and be more aggressive, looking for his shot a little bit more in the
Yeah.
next game.
And to be honest, well, who's starting at point guard now? Rose is out. Wow.
I mean, it was McBride.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was McBride. You know, it might be Ryan A. We never know.
Yeah, I mean, and at this point, I mean, we went through. We had Burke start there. You know what I mean? We had Kemba start there. We had McBride start there.
Yeah.
Do you even try Quickly? Do you even like try a new face again? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, if you're gonna do it, I would say now's the time because of the situation we're in with the COVID protocol, with the injuries. Um, you have reason to do it without second guessing yourself.
Right.
Um, but I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think Quickly deserves a shot at
Yeah.
the starting spot, or
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
why not?
why not?
I mean, him and Obi have a good chemistry together,
Right.
right? We've seen it all throughout the time on the second unit. Why not put him out there in the first unit with Obi at this point in time, and see if they can continue to show that chemistry even in the first unit, and maybe this helps Obi out a little bit as well, because Obi is out there to me without anyone that he believes understands how he plays. Right? We know that him and Quickly have a good thing going on. Right? They played last year together in the second unit. They played in the summer league together. They've been playing well this year so far in the second unit. So I think he trusts Quickly, and you put them out there together in that first unit. Maybe you get some production, and then now Miles McBride is in the second unit, and it's on him to kind of be the Quickly of the second unit. You know what I'm saying? And maybe you get a little bit more production from Miles McBride in that second unit.
It's tough shoes to fill. Uh, a guy who is not hesitant at all in putting up shots for for you know. But I think he would probably put up more shots in the second unit. McBride would not have that pressure,
Right.
not have that. Should I not? He's been a starter. Should I give it to him? You know what I mean? Like, do I got to orchestrate? I think maybe in that second unit, he just plays his game. It's more like the role of waiting your turn rather than that's a big jump
Yeah.
to not know if you're playing to starting as a rookie. But I mean he's handled it well. It's not a knock on him at all. I think he is going to be a solid player. But we need our vets back. At what point do we get worried about the season as a whole?
I'm worried about it now.
I mean,
Yesterday.
but we all believe that we can turn it around. So let me rephrase it. At what point do we say this season is a loss? Is a is it mathematical elimination, or is it a point where you're like, all right, we're not out of
Tony,
it, but I don't think we're going nowhere?
I'm gonna answer this question by telling you what everyone was trying to tell me last season. Now it's like the shoe is on the other foot now. This season is not lost unless we somehow lose all of our cap flexibility. We lose all of our young assets or what have you, and we become cap strapped for the next 5 years. So for me, that's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about the long game, and I'm thinking about the development of these young guys. As long as that's happening, I get it. We may not finish, sixth in the playoffs. We might get a playing game or what have you. But to me, that's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about the long game.
That's a big step for you, Josh. Like, you're saying this is what was told to you, and now you're adopting it.
Yeah,
you embraced it.
Yes, because anything else will be misery. So I need to adopt this. I need to adopt this this mentality.
Well, not looking so long term and looking short term as far as like this season in and of itself. Like January 23rd, that's when I start getting worried. January 23rd, that's my date. I'm putting it on my calendar because that's when that stretch begins. That's when that stretch begins. It is a killer stretch, from January 23rd until we get to, like late February. It is a super duper tough stretch. And, on that date, I'm going to look back and assess what's happened from now to then, where we are record wise, who we got on the court. And then, I'll turn my worry meter on or off.
Oh man, I would hate for the NBK to end up focusing on lotteries before the season or draft picks before the season over. That was a pleasant turn of events for us last year to not even be looking at draft picks and who's available and where we might So I hope that trend continues for sure, because heart wrenching that was.
And the thing is, with the way players are going in the health and safety protocol and all of that, you don't know which teams, when we get to that stretch, are
Mhm.
going to be at full strength or not.
Right.
Good
That's what's
point.
crazy about it. That's what's crazy about it. It's so much up in the air with this season. It's just it's crazy. I don't know. The Knicks could get at the Knicks could be full strength by January 23rd, and every team that they play from January 23rd until February or whatever is has players in health and safety protocol,
Right.
and we go on and win a whole bunch of games.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's definitely a different season right now.
Yeah. I
All
mean,
right.
I think for me, a lot of it depends on whether these players get it together. Like the point guard spot, I'm not sure if that's going to ever get straightened out. I don't really trust Kimba for the rest of this season, but he's going to be the player we need him to be for a consistent amount, of time. D Rose, he's going to come back. We can't play him 30 minutes, right? So we're talking about 20 minutes. So now we got a rookie in McBride and IQ. I just feel like right now, this team is just a mess, a mess because we haven't, players are underperforming so much. And it's okay if it's one or two players underperforming. A lot of our players are either underperforming or not taking the leap that we thought that they would take. So if we're not going to trade for somebody, unless individual players turn it around, I don't really see the Knicks getting much better. I
To me,
just
it's
don't.
not. To me, it's not worth it to make a trade just for
Mm.
this season. I don't think it's
No,
worth
no,
it. I
no,
think
no. We're making a trade for the, you know,
Long haul.
no. I
for the
got you.
long haul.
I got you. I'm talking about like just with this season in mind. I wouldn't make a trade for that. I would do it for the long haul. If this season is going to be a
Right,
loss, it's going to be a loss anyway. As far as wins and losses are concerned, but again, I
right,
think we still need to focus on what the long goal is: rebuilding. Building up the kids, getting them somewhere, and then next season, when a lot of the money starts coming off the books, then we can start. We can look to upgrade the team. And I honestly think that's what the front office is thinking as well. I think it is a over 60% chance that the Knicks come into next season with pretty much the same roster.
but
I'm pretty much
salary
they do.
wise, I'm sorry, Josh. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying pretty much. I mean, because we can't get better as far as free agency. So in order to improve the team or make any changes, it has to come through trade or with who we
Correct.
draft or whatever.
Correct.
But I don't think the front office is going to make a move this offseason. I'm really leaning towards them not making that move and just going into the season with the team as it is.
But this is the thing. We're in the same situation next year. Money wise, cap space, we're in the same situation, no matter what. I mean, the money, there isn't any money coming off the books next season.
Okay, so
The
this
the expiring
offseason,
contracts become valuable. He's saying
yeah,
more valuable.
I
exactly.
see.
And the money is expiring. So if they decide to keep them, that's money off the books anyway.
The
2023 is a
following year.
loaded free agent
Right.
class. So there's multiple ways next season, but going into next season, this offseason, I think it's a good possibility that the Knicks don't make anything substantial, too crazy to shake it up. And they come into the season with the next year's with the same team. Not saying I agree with that, but I think that's a
Yeah.
possibility.
Yeah,
I
what
don't think. Go ahead. So,
what I would do the opposite. If I'm gonna make a move, I'm making it now, knowing that if that doesn't work out, the following year I could ride it out and wait for 2023. I don't like making the trade next year and potentially not being players in the 2023 free agency because we made moves that absorb contracts that go beyond 2023. You know what I mean? So I'd rather do it now and try to make something happen between now and 2023.
It all depends. It
But
all depends on who we trade for and how the
correct.
salary is structured or whatever. So I mean, I think it really depends. But the reason why I say next year is because this front office and this team, look at Randle's year one going into his year two. They really didn't make that many changes to the roster, and the team did a drastic improvement, from year one to year two. And I mean, this year was a little bit of a regression. I think they probably think maybe these guys need some more time together. And off season, they come back and they play next season, and then we'll see what we have at that point. So I think I've been saying that's a possibility. I'm not saying I
Right.
completely agree with that, but that's on the table.
The way I see it, though, this is an emergent. To me, this is an emergency situation, especially at the point. I mean, look at the point guard situation. Kemba and Rose, and I know this coming in. You can't count on those guys. And the Knicks, even now, can't be shopping in the penny store. I mean, we have flexible contracts. Like the Knicks are operating like they're an over the cap team with non-flexible contracts and signing players for 10 years and they locked in. That's not even the case.
Yeah.
So I get it if they're being patient and they want to be smart and they want to wait and see who becomes available. I definitely get that. But I think the Knicks got to come out of the dollar store. And we can't
swing the bat. Swing it.
I mean, you don't have to be reckless, but they're operating like a team that just doesn't have any assets, like they locked in. I just don't get the approach, quite frankly. I don't get it.
Yeah, I'm with you, Steph.
I can't see them coming back with Kemba Walker next year.
Oh my God, Steph! I'm canceling the Queen's Court. I can't do it. I can't do it for another season.
I just don't see that happening. Them coming back with Kemba Walker next year. I don't know if it'll be a star point guard or not, but I don't think they're coming back with Kemba next year.
Right.
I think they're gonna buy Kemba out maybe over the summer if they don't do it this season. Because, I mean, it's clear that he's not going to – him and Tom Thibodeau probably aren't going to mesh. He's not going to stay healthy. Yeah, I don't see him staying here. Derrick Rose, he'll be here. You know what I mean? He'll be here. Is he going to be the starting point guard? I don't think so. I think the Knicks are going to be looking to go get a starting point guard or something.
This year?
I mean, if they can find one at the deadline, I think they do it. If they don't and they can't get one until the offseason, however that happens, I think they try to do it then. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think they're coming back with Kemba Walker.
This is Sexton's last year, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they got
it.
Yeah. But you guys wouldn't. I just think we at the position where we got to overpay for players. For a point guard. And I think we at a position where somebody may not want to get rid of a point guard, but just like a person, like I said before, they don't want to sell their business. But if you come with an offer they can't refuse, they're going to sell their business. Right. And I think that's where the Knicks has to be as far as the point guard is concerned.
Yeah, because I mean,
you have someone in mind.
Personally, I don't mind coming back with Randle. I don't mind coming back with RJ. Fournier, I'm a little shaky about. You know what I'm saying? But they probably will come back with Fournier, Mitch, Nerlens. If you have a leader out there, I think you can change this team drastically. If you have the right kind of leader out there on the floor. Can you find that person? I don't know. That's hard.
So you're saying you will overpay for that person?
If I find the right person that I think is a leader, yeah, I'll overpay for him.
You ain't going to say his name?
I don't know who it is.
And Philly, you ain't going to say his name?
I don't think he's the right leader that I'm talking about. He is not the leader that I'm talking about.
But that's
not at all.
But hold on, wait a minute. But the reason why I brought his name up and I asked you about it is because overpaid was the term that Steph used, and you said that you think that he's overpaid. There's no question in the talent of what he can do: assist, ball handling, defense, all of that. We need all of that. That's a guy that can fit right in on this team.
I'm talking about assist, ball handling. I'm talking about being the leader, being the floor general, being the person like Patrick Beverley will get in someone's face and say, no, you're supposed to be right there. So get there now. That's what I'm talking about. And I don't think he's that. I don't think he would demand that kind of respect. At all.
I would take Pat Beverley right now. If the Knicks could send a second round pick right now, he don't even have to shoot the ball. He just
take him right now.
That was going to be my next question.
But hold on, but I think Pat Beverley is less of a floor general and more of that leader that you're talking about. I think those two terms are, they couldn't be mutually exclusive. Like, I would love Pat Beverley on this team because we need that personality on this roster. But floor general, I don't know if he's the floor general. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
So,
I agree.
so
I agree.
overpaid. A first round pick is overpaying. Are you giving up a first for
A
Pat
first
Bev
round is
right now?
For Patrick Beverly,
Yeah.
you would have to. I think Minnesota would take that.
oh, I
I think
know
you
they
have
would.
to.
Well,
Yeah, I think you
I
have
mean,
to.
But
yeah,
I think
I
I
mean,
would
I-
overpay
They're gonna
for
take
like
it.
for
Because
a
he's an
long-term
expiring
solution.
contract though. So
Right.
that's the reason why they would take that 20 million expiring deal. So that's the
but
reason why that.
do you do that if it's a I won't even say Fournier, but let's say we giving up the first, we're getting rid of Kimba with the first, and then what we need, maybe
How much money?
Knox.
Let me see, check this money real quick.
I don't know, Tony. That's a good point. I was thinking about overplaying for like a point guard that's going to be here for years,
Yeah.
I mean,
years to come.
I get that too, but that's
Mhm.
why, like Josh, I think you gotta put a name out there
Right.
to you know what I mean.
Well,
To
you already know. I would overpay for DeJounte Murray.
okay,
I would overpay. for
I'm
him.
a Ben Simmons guy.
Yeah.
Sim, who you got?
I don't know. I don't know who I would overpay for. I'd have to really look at it and see because the Malcolm Brogdon, I would. Malcolm Brogdon. I would love to have Malcolm Brogdon on this
Yeah.
team.
Yeah.
I think he fits the bill of being a floor general, plus a guy who can shoot it. He can play some defense. He can get you the assist. He's a guy that I would go and get on this team.
Yeah. I like
I'd
Brogdon as
overpay.
well.
I would overpay for Fed Van Vliet.
Oh my goodness. Yes, of course.
Brogdon, that's a first round pick then.
Oh yeah, I gave up a first round
You're
pick.
gonna have to give up more. You overpaying, meaning you might have to throw in
Two?
another.
And he's under contract. He's under contract for multiple years after that. So you're gonna have to give
Okay,
up some.
so two first, and whatever the salary matchup is.
I would.
I would.
I mean, so maybe
Two
that's
first.
We
That's an overpay. That's an overpay, Steph. You said it.
Because it's like enough is enough with our point guard situation.
The thing is, we have some extra first round picks that we can throw out there.
Yeah.
And so it's not like we wouldn't have them. We wouldn't have first round picks to draft.
Right.
No, well, since I agree with you. I just was looking to use those picks to get someone like on a bigger level. That's what I was thinking.
Like Ben Simmons.
Well, yeah, he's clearly
on a bigger level, right?
He's clearly on a bigger level than Malcolm Brogdon, easily, no question, no question.
Well,
or
that's
Jaylen
another
Brown
show.
or somebody like that. Jaylen Brown.
That's
I don't know
another
about
show.
that. Malcolm Brogdon is actually playing right now.
Right.
You can't be on no level if you ain't playing.
Malcolm Brogdon's playing right now.
Well, obviously, he's in health and safety protocol.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
And he will be back.
Okay.
He's played this season, and he will be back.
Right. Vaughn Allen says Brogdon would be perfect for Deuce, and I agree with that. I think that would be the perfect mentor guy that he could learn the ropes from, and so good comment there.
Sometimes it's not even the best player; it's the best fit that elevates the team. Like Brogdon is, I would think, is a Tibbs type of guard, just in terms of just being able to run his offense and being able to defend that position. I mean, you don't have to have a defensive point guard. Throughout the league, a lot of teams don't have it, but if you do have it, that first line of defense is a defensive. Oh, it changes everything defensively for your team.
Yeah. I mean, he might be the consensus. I think we all agree that we would like him on the team. He's a good fit. I do the first round picks as well. I think at least one of them would have to be restricted somehow. Maybe top 10.
Be protected.
Protected. Yes, protected somehow. But yeah, I think that is a good fit, because I don't think we want to go through a whole remodel. You know what I mean? Rebuild. and I think that's a guy that you can plug in. It's kind of like Elf with offense. You know what I mean? Like everything we the guys who did know what Elf appreciated what Elf did. You know what I mean? Like it's that plus offense. So I like that. Maybe this gets to the air of
Would
the
you
front
give up
office.
Brogdon or IQ?
Who?
Wait,
I mean,
IQ or
Say that
who?
again.
I mean, would you give up McBride or IQ for Brogdon?
Either one.
Yeah, for me it'd be either one, but I think they're like IQ's a shinier toy for them.
Yeah, I agree,
It's a shinier toy for them.
and I think Brogdon, like I said, would be a nice role model or you know what I mean, like guy to take Deuce under his wing.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And maybe you give up IQ and you don't got to do two first. Maybe,
Oh no, you're gonna have to give up. I don't think IQ is holding that much value right now.
Mm-mm.
He's shiny, but he ain't that shiny.
That's what Knicks fans overvaluing our players. But yeah, I think I'm good for the day. We got Queen's Court in like 15, 16 minutes or so. Appreciate you guys joining as always. We got the new show coming Wednesday. So
Yes.
you guys look out for that on MBK Network. Me and Steph got a show coming Wednesday. We were doing 6:30?
6:30.
6:30 the
Crossover.
And Josh, appreciate you joining. I'll do like Sim says. Any last words?
Let's just pick it up a little. I mean, this is my first time being a content creator when the Knicks is having a semi-down season, and I don't know how you guys got through it these years prior to last year, because this is tough.
Hey, listen, there was a lot of nights when I'm like, I don't feel like coming out here and talking about this game, but I still got on there, but I didn't want to.
Right.
You know what I
can
mean?
imagine.
And you know, we end up with a lot of arguments.
Oh yeah.
A lot of arguments.
It builds character. That's what it does.
Oh, God.
Josh?
The Knicks are 3 games out of the 6th spot. So all hope is not lost, you know, and I talk all day about the flexibility and what we do have moving forward. There's no time to panic right now. There's still a lot of season left. Let's get our guys back healthy and let's see how we can be able to play. So I'm not panicking or anything like that. Even if the Knicks don't get a playoff spot, I feel like, you know, this team, as long as we continue to develop our guys, will be okay. So that's how I feel.
Yeah, I think you know, just what Steph was saying about, you know, doing content creation while the Knicks are bad. This season, the way that it's going is probably actually going to be good for content creation because so many things are happening and there's probably so many more things to happen over the next couple of months. It's you know, it's going to be a lot of stuff to go out there, and then you're gonna, you know, if the Knicks do fall off, there's going to be the draft.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, to get into, and people are going to be ready to turn right to the draft. As soon as it's like, yep, they're out of it, people are going to turn right to the draft. So this is going to be there's going to be a lot of stuff coming out this season. I can tell. I do think the Knicks are going to try to make a move at the deadline. And I wouldn't be surprised if we ended up with Ben Simmons either. Not that it's the right move. I just wouldn't be surprised if we ended up with Ben Simmons. You know,
difference maker, Sam.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Difference maker.
He ain't making no difference right now.
In Philly, he's not. In Philly, he's not. But for 4 years, he did. So
we don't even know if he's gonna be in shape.
Well, he's married now, so there you go.
Yeah, so that means he may not be in shape. Him and his wife sitting back on the couch, he crunching munch or something. I don't know.
I hope not.
Watching TV.
I hope not. But yeah, I appreciate you guys. Queen's Court coming up in like 15 minutes. Shout out to the chat. Your Blackest Time.